right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Badly needed rainfall. Not necessarily a drought buster, but so welcome when the rain finally moves out.
But first tonight, moving forward. Teachers from a school district in mourning address the shooting.
No one prepared me for this part of the job, but I wouldn't have been anywhere else.
Plus, advice for parents and children post-trauma. Good evening, I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Mike Bush. Tonight, the St. Louis School Board met for a work session to discuss next steps. It followed an emotional news conference held by school leaders.
This is a trend that must stop. What else can we do? We arm our security guards. We lock the doors. We train kids starting in preschool what to do when someone comes into their school and tries to inflict trauma on them.
Here's what we know tonight. The school building is no longer considered a crime scene, and investigators have turned it back over to the school district. School is canceled for the rest of the week for both Central Visual and Performing Arts and the Collegiate School of Medicine and Bioscience. Virtual learning will begin either on Monday or Tuesday, and students and staff won't return to the building for a while.
It is highly likely that the building won't be occupied for the next several weeks until we're able to do the kind of renovations necessary to put the building back in a position that students can possibly enter the building again.
Arrangements are being made for faculty, staff, and students to retrieve their items from the school.
Tonight, we're learning more about the gunman's mental state and the evidence police collected from his car. Investigators say Orlando Harris used an AR-15 in yesterday's shooting. He had stockpiled more than 600 rounds of ammo, some of which he strategically dropped around the building. Police sources tell 5 on your side he left a detailed note saying he bought the gun from a private dealer after being turned away at a gun show in St. Charles. Investigators also found a list of other school shooters and a map of the school in Harris's car, along with a manifesto.
He wrote, quote, "I don't have any friends. I don't have any family. I've never had a girlfriend. I've never had a social life. I've been an isolated loner my entire life. This was the perfect storm for a mass shooter."
Tonight, mental health experts say that manifesto can now serve as a call to action for school officials and even parents. Brent Solomon is live in downtown St. Louis with more on the mental health impact. Brent?
Well, here at St. Louis Police Headquarters, officials continue to look into how this happened and why. Less than 24 hours after that shooting at Central VPA, I can tell you that school leaders found guns at 2 other area high schools. Meantime, mental health professionals continue to make themselves available because for those impacted, the road ahead could be long.
It's no longer on TV or in the news, it's in our backyard.
It's why Atoya White is already hard at work, working with Annie Malone to counsel those impacted by Monday's school shooting. It starts with listening to how students are feeling.
They might be scared, they might be afraid, they might be whatever that emotion is, and then be able to actually label that and then follow that up with, well, behavior is the language of emotion. So what behavior set then follows them encountering those emotions such that we can start to develop coping strategies and things of that nature.
We learned Tuesday the shooter left a manifesto saying he had no friends or family, no social life, and felt isolated.
There are kids who are listening to this right now saying, you know what, man, I feel, buddy, I feel, that way about my situation. Now, can we provide alternatives? Can we give them choices to choose from, people to speak to, people to reach out to? Can we can we pay more attention to those subliminals, the things that are happening on social media, the videos that they watch, the comments that they leave, how they behave at home, attention to detail, all these different things, so that those kids who don't have a voice can develop some confidence.
White says it serves as an opportunity for all parents.
You can have conversations on a regular basis that say, hey, you know what, how was school today? And not just let them say it was good. Well, what was good about it?
He also points to an opportunity for school leaders everywhere.
What additional counselors, social workers, SROs, what additional resources do we need? Do we have to pony up or repurpose money for so that we have fewer kids that end up in this situation where they don't feel a part of the community that they're growing up in?
And right now, Annie Malone is providing free counseling services for individuals, families, and one-on-one sessions with parents who were impacted by what happened Monday. For information on how to sign up, visit ksdk.com. Live in downtown St. Louis tonight, Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
We don't know what we need right now today. It will be one day at a time.
St. Louis Public Schools is offering virtual counseling to staff and students. They're also providing help through its central offices. The events of yesterday can be traumatizing for the entire community. Project 5 and Behavioral Health Response have teamed up to provide mental health counseling. Right now, trained counselors are just a phone call away. You can call 314-469-6644 until 10:30 tonight.
Just a few hours ago, more than 100 people gathered at an interfaith vigil to honor the many St. Louis area children who died due to gun violence. A 15-year-old girl killed in yesterday's mass shooting at Central VPA was among those remembered. Our Robert Townsend is live outside the South City High School with more on community leaders' pleas for change. Robert?
Mike, the leaders tell me they're tired of seeing memorials like this, and that's why they're now pleading to churches and the community to do more and take proactive stands to save our kids.
Marion Jones, 17 years old.
It was a powerful, moving, and sad event that included the reading of the names of more than 100 children in St. Louis, boys and girls who lost their lives to gun violence in the last 4 years.
Alexandria Bell, 15 years old.
Alexandria was an outgoing 10th grader shot and killed during a mass shooting at Central Visual and Performing Arts Monday. Several of her classmates seriously wounded.
We are not here only to mourn, but to take action.
People from different churches, synagogues, and parishes united at Mount Bethel Missionary Baptist Church in North City and introduced their Interfaith Gun Safety Initiative.
We know that the faith community cannot alone stop gun violence, but we can take some steps to help keep our children safe.
They remembered these innocent faces and spoke out against the ongoing gun violence. So far this year, more than 100 kids have been shot in the city. 14 died.
And I believe that if we actually commit to our next steps, that we can make real change.
They also passed out free gun locks to parents.
All firearms must be secured safely to prevent unauthorized and accidental use, and especially by children.
Corey Peterson, 2 years old.
As one pastor put it, we don't want to keep reading their names. And tomorrow, a balloon release and a candlelight vigil will be held here at Central VPA. It will start at 6:30. We're live in South City. Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Tonight, President Biden is offering his condolences and calling for gun control. He tweeted today, "Jill and I are thinking of everyone impacted by the senseless shooting in St. Louis, especially those killed and injured, their families, and the first responders. As we mourn with Central Visual and Performing Arts, we must take action, starting by banning assault weapons." Tonight, family and friends of Jean Kushka are heartbroken.
She was the teacher students say died protecting them from the gunman. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski talked with loved ones who say they will cherish their memories with her. Laura.
Mike and Ann, friends and family of 61-year-old Jean Kushka say she was a passionate and caring person inside and outside the classroom, and they're determined to continue her legacy.
Teacher, mom, friend, advocate, cyclist. These are the words used to describe Jean Kushka, who was shot and killed while trying to save her students at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School.
My mom was very family-oriented, and that same type of environment was instilled in her classroom. And my mom played field hockey in high school, and so she was always a leader.
Jean was a role model. Jean, as a teacher, she used her writing as a way to raise awareness for type 1 diabetes.
Jean's daughter, Abby Kushka, says it means a lot to know her mom truly made a difference for thousands of students over her 38-year teaching career.
It brings a peace of mind to know the impact that she left on this world, and truly we didn't even know you know, the impact that she had on all of these students.
And outside the classroom, former JDRF CEO Derek Rapp says she rode her bike hundreds of miles for her son Joe, who has diabetes, and raised $50,000 and counting for type 1 diabetes research. The JDRF ride to cure diabetes was in just a few weeks.
This was going to be her 16th ride for JDRF over all these years. And I will miss her terribly when we're doing that ride, because we're going to be doing the ride together this year again.
Abby says she's so thankful for the adventures she shared with her mom and will never forget her love for her family and students, a love she displayed with every last breath.
When I first heard about the shooting, I had no idea it was my mom, but I know she put herself in front of the gunfire to save those kids. That was her passion. My mom's a hero.
On the next JDRF ride to cure diabetes, Rapp says he will be riding mile 23 in silence for Jean. The family says they would love any donations in her memory to go to JDRF. We have a link on KSDK.com. Mike.
Laura, thanks. Hundreds of students who survived the shooting are now dealing with trauma. Brian, an aspiring artist, was one of the 7 people injured in the shooting. He was shot in both of his hands and his neck, but the bullet missed his main artery. Brian's mom tells 5 on Your Side he survived by jumping out a 2-story window. Now, a GoFundMe has been set up to help Brian's family with medical bills, and we have a link with this story at KSDK.com. Our coverage of the Central VPA shooting continues now at KSDK.com and on the 5 on Your Side app. You can watch our story on how community leaders are praising our first responders and school security for a quick response.
The easy way to steal Hyundai and Kias has now become a TikTok trend.
A terrible, terrible outcome for such young kids.
Tonight, the deadly consequences for 4 teenagers. Trick or treat threat. The toxins lurking in your child's Halloween costume.
Halloween weather isn't looking too spooky for next week. The weekend weather system that gives us clues into early next week.
Developing tonight, more than 100 firefighters are on the scene of a massive vacant warehouse fire just north of the Arch grounds. This is video from just a few hours ago. The abandoned warehouse is located near the intersection of North 1st and O'Fallon streets. Firefighters say at one point, embers from the fire were threatening the former Laclede power plant. One person who may have been staying inside of that building was hurt. No word on a cause. A Missouri Amazon driver is dead. Authorities believe he was killed in a dog mauling attack. Officers found the driver's body in the yard of a home in Excelsior Springs. Investigators say the officers shot and killed 2 aggressive dogs that were also in the yard. The homeowners were out of town at the time. An autopsy will be performed tomorrow.
Tonight, investigators in Buffalo, New York believe the rash of Hyundai and Kia thefts might be responsible for the deaths of 4 teens. 6 teens were inside a stolen Kia that crashed this morning. Police believe they stole the car after watching a popular TikTok trend showing how to steal Kias without using a key.
They are very easy, unfortunately, to steal. You can look up the information that's been put out there. There are numerous cities across the country that are looking into, or have filed lawsuits against Kia.
St. Louis is one of those cities seeking lawsuits against Kia and Hyundai.
We're exactly 2 weeks away from Election Day. Missouri voters can now cast absentee ballots in person. It's part of a new law allowing no excuse in-person absentee voting 2 weeks before each election. You have until November 7th. You must also show a photo ID like a driver's license, passport, or military ID. 5 on Your Side is voter guide for the 2022 general election. Read up on the candidates from all parties for different offices across Missouri and Illinois. For a link, just text the word guide to 314-425-5355 and we'll get that to you.
St. Louis's new Major League Soccer stadium still hasn't opened, and it already has a new name. Today, St. Louis SC announced Centene will no longer have the naming rights to the stadium. It will now go by City Park. The discussion came after they had a decision with the club and St. Louis-based Medicaid provider. Centene released a statement saying, in part, its decision to reshape its partnership with St. Louis City SC reflects its emphasis on improving public health and individual well-being.
Halloween, less than a week away. Trick-or-treating safety is top of mind for many parents.
The danger can start with the makeup used as part of their costume. Consumer Reports looks into the toxic ingredients that could be lurking in face paints and powders. Halloween is a time for spooky thrills, but toxic ingredients in some of your kids' face paints and powders are the real scare. Arsenic, cadmium, chromium, and lead were found in Halloween face paint kits as part of a 2016 investigation by the Breast Cancer Fund. And in 2020, the Environmental Working Group found asbestos in a toy makeup kit.
Even small exposures to these toxins are dangerous. Lead, as we know, affects brain development, asbestos is a carcinogen, and cadmium is an endocrine disruptor linked to certain types of cancer and other health problems.
Makeup and cosmetics are regulated by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. So how do these dangerous toxins make it onto store shelves?
Well, unlike its oversight of food or drugs, the FDA actually has very little power to regulate the safety of cosmetic ingredients. It surveys products that are already on the market, but it does not approve their safety beforehand.
So what should parents do when a kid wants to be Dracula for Halloween? If kids insist on using face paints and powders, avoid ones with the darkest pigments, as the Breast Cancer Fund study found those to contain a higher concentration of heavy metals. Consumer Reports says your best bet might be to skip the store-bought stuff altogether. There are lots of DIY makeup recipes online that use face moisturizer, cornstarch, and natural coloring, so you know exactly what's on your child's skin. Another scare, children are more than twice as likely to be hit and killed by a car on Halloween than any other day of the year. To be safer, avoid masks that block vision, give them glow sticks, and add reflective tape to their costumes and bags.
Get enough rain today? Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joining us now. It's moving on out, Scott.
It is moving out, and it's not a complete drought buster for us, but it was badly needed for sure. You know, we needed, and it came as a nice, gentle rain for much of the day. Yeah, it picked up in intensity at times. It was a pain to drive in at times today, especially this morning. But now the back edge is coming on through. And since we've been so dry, none of this was able to cause any kind of flooding or anything like that. So a very beneficial rain. The last of it now sliding into the Metro St. Louis area at this hour. In fact, you still have some coming down Highway 61 out of Bowling Green and Troy. That'll slide into St. Charles County. Have another little patch that's been over parts of St. Charles County, sliding into northern St. Louis County and right in towards the central west end here. Very light, and it is beginning to break up and lessen in intensity. This has been a little bit heavier over the farm fields here of Washington and Clinton counties in Illinois, from Nashville heading over to the east towards Mount Vernon and towards Salem. Rainfall amounts when this started last night and then really picked up this morning during the rush hour and then again this afternoon. We've seen 2 to 3 inches, pretty widespread across the area. Badly needed rain. That's a live look up in Florissant right now. We still have some rain coming down. We just did a tally in the last hour or so, looking at the rain gauges around the region. Troy, Illinois coming in with almost 3 3/4 of an inch. Manchester over 3 inches. Oakville over 3 inches. Cahokia Heights close to that. We had good rain, even Waterloo over 2 inches of rain. And that's the case for much of the metro area. In fact, it ends up being a record rainfall for the date, 2.23 so far in St. Louis. It's still raining at this hour, and we're now at our low temperature for the day of 44 degrees. We'll drop another couple of 3 degrees tonight. Low 40s from St. Louis east, upper 30s back to the west. The rain will come to an end. Skies will be clearing before daybreak, and we have a bright sky on the way tomorrow. There's no chance for rain. We'll get a chance to dry out. We'll have temperatures in the upper 50s to lower 60s for tomorrow afternoon. Weekend is right around the corner, so we're already looking at the next weather system. We'll have some clouds on Thursday. Friday's quiet. Most of Saturday's quiet, but Saturday night into Sunday, we have a system coming in from the south. That'll be sliding by mainly east and southeast of St. Louis, but certainly close enough where we should see some showers around. We do think those showers, though, will be gone. We look back at the Halloween climatology. 23 times since 1950 we've had rain on Halloween. Just 4 years ago we had over an inch, kind of rough for trick-or-treating 4 years ago with some of those showers, but we don't think that's going to be the case this go round. We're looking at partly cloudy skies, if not mostly clear, by Monday evening as those clouds roll out, and the trick-or-treaters will be dealing with temperatures mainly in the mid to upper 50s. We'll take that for this time of year.
back close to 70 by the end of next week.
All right, Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Well, a former Cardinal is now a manager. The Blues have found another goalie. And is college recruiting about winning or money? Stick around, please. I thought the Blues had two major question marks heading into the season: depth on defense and the backup goalie spot. After last night at Winnipeg, not worried about the latter. Now, I don't think that Thomas Greiss will play tomorrow versus Edmonton, but boy, did he play last night in Winnipeg. Forget the fact that the Blues lost the game, and remember this: his 39 saves were the most ever by a Blues goalie in their debut. This 36-year-old was out of sight, and his teammates knew it.
Greiser was great for us tonight. We were very good in front of him. He made a lot of big saves. For us, kept us in it, and we got to be better in front of him.
The bottom line is we didn't execute good enough tonight, and we got a good performance in that from Greiss, but we didn't help him out.
Yeah, big picture. I mean, I know this is one game you want to forget about, but Greiss, I mean, that's a good sign, right? The backups.
He came in and played really well.
Skip Schumacher is now a major league manager. He was hired by the Marlins today. Miami has had losing seasons in 12 of the last 13 years. The Cardinals are now looking for a bench coach. Skip was well respected. Eli Drinkwitz was well respected also. That's why Mizzou hired him and are paying him $4 million a season. He can still turn this thing around. The Tigers are at South Carolina this weekend. But here's the troubling item. Mizzou's losing out on some big-time recruits. A week ago, Jeremiah Love, CBC, said yes to Notre Dame. Then, last Friday, Marvin Burks Jr. at Ritter said yes to Ole Miss. These are really gifted players, along with Miles McVay from East St. Louis, who chose Alabama. So is it Mizzou's 3-4 record the reason Mizzou's not getting them? Or is it simply better NIL deals other schools are offering?
Well, NIL is a major factor, and so they need as many businessmen and they need as much support from the people in Missouri who say they love football and they want to win as they're giving to the guys at Georgia and Tennessee.
So how does that change recruiting? You work as hard as you can, but if you don't have the money, you can't get the kid?
Money changes everything. How many people at home right now are looking at a situation saying, I got this much money in this hand and this much money in the other, and what do they choose 9 times out of 10? Money changes the game completely.
Speaking of a guy we just mentioned, Jeremiah Love, his CBC cadets will begin their quest to defend the state championship in the playoffs on Friday. The cadets are averaging more than 40 points a game, thanks in part to the Notre Dame commit, who often looks unstoppable. So why did he decide to pick the Irish for college?
When you're picking a school, you always got to think of life after football, and I think that Notre Dame really has the academics and then the connections at Notre Dame will really help me off the field and on the field. So I just really thought it was an overall good fit for me and my family.
Soccer fans will love this. Take a look at the first ever mini pitch court in our region. They opened up Saturday in Alton. It was made possible by the U.S. Soccer Federation and some organizations in town like Student Athletes Leading Tomorrow. It's a place for children to learn the game. The U.S. Soccer Federation is building 1,000 of these all over America.
You have the middle school right here, and the middle school is right here, and so it's a safe place for the kids to come. It's a place where the kids can expend all their energy and just have fun.
Soccer is just crazy in this area. The St. Louis University women, one of the best teams in America. The men will probably make the tournament with the MLS coming, and now these new soccer pitches developing all over the area. It's really a great soccer town.
Getting the kids out there. All right, Frank, thank you.
You can't pay cash on Amazon. How you'll soon be able to pay with a popular cash app. There's a new place to shop for those who like to buy in bulk. Costco opened its new University City store today. It's the Membership Warehouse's 4th location in the St. Louis area. The 151,000 square foot store is located on Olive off 170. There will soon be a new way to pay on Amazon. Starting on Black Friday, shoppers can use Venmo at checkout. The online retail giant already accepts credit, debit, EBT, and gift cards.
The McRib returns on Halloween, and McDonald's is once again teasing This could be your last chance to get the popular tangy pork sandwich. The fast food chain calls this the McRibs Farewell Tour. They're available through November 20th.
That's a good point. Isn't it always on a farewell tour?
it is.
Seems so.
Yeah, but we'll still show up, just in case.
All right,
not a big
let's get a final check,
Yeah.
Scotty.
We have a little bit of rain still hanging around, nothing like what we saw earlier today and through this evening. We've had the scattered showers around. They're becoming increasingly scattered, and that's the trend we have. As you see right now in St. Louis, we're talking temperatures in the 40s with the gray skies. Waking up out the door tomorrow morning, upper 30s, low 40s.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.